Good afternoon, viewers. Good evening. I want to thank you for joining this live stream. We are getting ready for an update to the Mike Kelloway coming on at 8 o'clock. What I'm going to use this time for now, as we do on Mondays, is the People's Platform. So I have some letters to read from different zones and different areas. And you are more than welcome to post your comments as well in the side question bar. I can see them, and reasonable and relevant questions will be shown on screen tonight as well. So I'm just going to refer to a letter that I did get this morning from LFA 26, and this is from Chandra. Okay, I'm looking at a couple different emails and comments. So I'm just going to pull this one up. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Gary Hunter. Hello, Paul McDonald. All right. So again, disclosure, Ripple Effects takes no side in any topics. We are simply a platform. Majority of the time, a lot of topics I do not know a lot about, which means I need your help, I need your input and your engagement. So like I said, please feel free to post your comments. And I am going to go ahead here and read the questions that from Chandra today from LFA 26. Can we do a sound check? Can everyone hear me? Let me know that you can hear me. There's a bit of a storm going on in Ilmadam, so I just want to make sure. Can someone just let me know in the comments to the side that you can hear me? Patricia Ann Walker, Gary, Paul, could you just say yes or no in the comments that you can hear me loud and clear? Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay, so questions I would like the Honorable Fisheries Minister Bernadette Jordan to answer in response to the decision to delay the lobster fishery in the Southern Gulf of St. Lawrence by 2 weeks. Number 1, why is it safe for some LFAs to fish and not safe for others? Number 2, why does the Gulf area need extra time to prepare and put measures in place so they can operate safely, but Area 31A was allowed to go on the same start date that we should have had? Number 3, you can hear okay? Okay, good. Number 3, why were LFAs 32 and 31B allowed to open on time? They had much less time to prepare and take precautions to operate under the threat of COVID-19. The spread on their vessels, yet there appears to have been no concern whatsoever for their well-being or safety. Number 4, why have LFAs 33 and 34 been allowed to continue to fish as if nothing is wrong? They weren't even required to press pause and put measures in place. It has been business as usual in those areas. Number 5, hope I'm not going too fast. Number 5, why do we need more time to prepare to work under these new challenges? The problems related to COVID-19 have been in the forefront of the news and on everyone's radar since mid-March. Number 6, currently you have 31A, 31B, 32, 33, 34, 36, and 37 operating as normal. They did not require any extra time to get ready. Areas 30, 29, 28, and 27 are all scheduled to start on various dates between May 9th and May 19th. None of them are being told they needed extra time to prepare, but you feel that it's important for 23, 24, and 26A and B to delay for weeks for protection of the fishermen and to allow them time to get ready. Could you please explain the reasoning for this? Number 7, are we being delayed so that the processors can deal with the crab fishery that is currently ongoing in the Gulf region? Number 8, can you give me solid examples of similar restrictions or requirements with similar timeframes for the other LFAs that are currently fishing or to go fishing? Number 9, please give your reasoning behind the selection of May 15th for the start date. And again, those questions were submitted by, I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing her name right, Chandra Gavin. I believe I have her name right, Chandra Gavin. Okay, so that's one letter that was sent in. I'm just going to make sure I'm getting all the emails here. And if you've requested that your name not be posted, then your name will not be posted. Mind you, we rarely get that. We do get hear your voice, but voice is delayed. No. Okay, yeah, Gary, a little bit of the Ilmadam storm might be doing that. I just want to make sure the kids are all off their devices too. I can hear they are. Okay, what is being done with lobsters? Okay, so did get an email from Evan Watts. Same idea that was just posted in that letter. So Evan, what is being done about lobster fishermen in the southern Gulf of the St. Lawrence losing a quarter of their season? Why is it okay for other districts to start on time and we are not? We haven't been given an explanation as to why we are not able to fish and others are. The price is now $6.25 a pound with talks of going to $7 and we're tied to the wharf. It is clearly not a safety concern as to why we're being shut down. Other lobster districts are open and other fisheries are open in the southern Gulf. And that was Evan Watts, LFA 26B, South Port Hood, Cape Breton. Okay, now we're going to go over to LFA 27. Okay, so for our viewers out there, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that LFA 27 doesn't start till the 15th of this month, as usual, but the LFA 27 is looking for a financial aid package. So they've suggested the financial aid package that they're looking for, and I'd like to read that. And LFA 26, which should have started, and those other zones that should have started on the 1st of May, are wondering why there is a delay, why they are tied at the wharf. Okay, so I'm just going to refer to the message that I got here. And I believe Mike Kelloway has already sent this in, but rest assured that when we do contact the minister, I myself personally am following up with email as well. Okay, here it comes, you guys. Hopefully everyone can still hear me nice and clear. Okay. So the package that, just getting a few more texts here. Feel free to text my number, 902-305-7833. Oh, there it is. Okay. So the package that has been sent to the minister, we hereby request, number 1, a 12-month extension for fishermen's EI. Number 2, a 12-month extension for deckhands EI. Number 3, a 12-month extension for EI of those who are employed in fisheries-dependent seasonal jobs, such as lobster buyers, pound workers, and processors. Number 4, 12 months loan deferrals on all fishing loans to bridge fishermen to the next lobster season. Number 5, 12 months mortgage deferrals for fishers, deckhands, and those in fisheries-dependent seasonal jobs. Number 6, business bridge loans up to $50,000, interest and payment free for 12 months to cover projects in progress or projects that must be completed for next season's fishery. You can hear me now, Gary? I really hope everyone could hear that letter before, but I'm going to post that letter just in case the sound was off. I'm going to post Chandra's letter in the comments. And the request that was sent in by the fishermen, that was sent in today, and that was LFA 27. Okay, so I have a few thank yous as well. A couple weeks ago, Ripple Effects decided to reach for the stars here, if you want to call it that. The opportunity to have the minister on Ripple Effects, well, needless to say, would be a rare opportunity. We were contacted finally last week about our request, and I did get to speak with Bernadette Jordan's office, and for 8 minutes in total. I got to relay a lot of the messages of what I just read, and I also was told that Monday today at 2 p.m. we would hear from their office as to the exact time Bernadette Jordan would come on Ripple Effects. We waited. We called several times, understanding how busy they must be. At 4:03, we got a text that, and I'll just read it right from Bernadette's office. Bernadette's office today at 3:33. Hi, Rebecca. I'm on back-to-back conference calls, but I've got your messages and will call you after. So I said I can appreciate time is extremely delicate on this matter. I apologize. I was under the impression in our conversation that we would talk with Bernadette Tuesday or Wednesday. We have fishermen that want to be out on the water. What would it take to make this happen as soon as possible? We have questions, and I do not need much time, but building an audience would be great to have an advance notice. So at 4:03, I got to speak to Bernadette Jordan's office, and the good positive news I have is this. They are trying their best to make this happen for Tuesday night. There is no absolute 100% guarantee, but they are trying their best. So for them to return the phone call and give us that, I am grateful. So once again, at 4:03, I got a phone call from Bernadette Jordan's office saying that Tuesday night they are trying to make this happen. But as you can imagine, they are inundated with so many things, but we haven't given up yet. Okay, that makes sense? Any questions? I want to thank. Here's who I want to thank. I want to give out some thank yous, because this meeting with the minister has been a long time in coming. I want to thank the people that helped me facilitate it, helped give me questions and letters. So Charlotte McClellan out of Margaret Bay, Danelda McCaskill out of Englishtown, and MP Mike Kelloway, who's been coming on Monday nights. Thank you very much. It has been that much more extra support as to getting communication with the minister. So thank you. Just want to make sure we can hear, because Mike will be on shortly. And I want to make sure that I've got... could you viewers, if you don't mind, could you share this interview or now? So hit share or anywhere that you can, and that way it gives everyone an opportunity to come on or put their comments. If you don't want your name displayed, can text me at 902-305-7833, and I will make reference to your comment without your name. Okay. Reasonable and relevant comments. Once again, Mike's coming on shortly. Reasonable and relevant comments will be highlighted on screen during the broadcast coming up at 8 o'clock. So stand by, you guys. And if you have any questions, I can see them in the comments to the side. To our new viewers that are coming on, please feel free to hit share in your groups, on your news feeds, so that people have the opportunity to join the broadcast. I want to say something, though. If you do start what's called a watch party, and if there are comments in the watch party, those comments don't get seen during the live broadcast. So if you want any connection to this program tonight, share the original, this link now. Don't do a watch party, do that after. Just share the link. And that way, anybody that joins it has an opportunity to be heard. Okay, so stand by. We're coming on shortly here. While we're waiting for Mike Kelloway, I thought I would read the letter that was sent in by Alan McMaster, and the letter was sent in to the Minister of Fisheries. So I'm just going to read that letter. This letter was sent to the Minister of Fisheries this evening. The Honourable Bernadette Jordan, Minister of Fisheries, Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard. Dear Minister Jordan, I am writing in support of the fishermen of Inverness South who wanted the lobster season to start on May 1st. It is my understanding that a vote was taken and the majority of fishers in this region voted to keep the season start date as May 1st, the typical start date each year. For some reason, this voice was not heard by your office when you made a decision to delay the season until May 15th. I am sharing the request that as a compromise, the season begin on May the 6th. Your colleague, our Member of Parliament, Mike Kelloway, has stated that he supports these fishers with their request for the May 6th start date. How can the Member of Parliament fully support the fishers who want the season to start now while the government and minister responsible have made the decision to do the exact opposite? You stated the reason for delaying the lobster fishery in the Southern Gulf region was to give fishers more time to make their workplaces safe. I quote from your statement, the additional time will enable processing plants to prepare their facilities and workforce for the upcoming season and allow everyone across the industry to put in place the necessary health and safety measures in response to COVID-19. However, you permitted crab season to proceed on April the 24th in an overlapping days 18 and 12. You also permitted the fishery on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia to proceed that same week. In addition, the fishery on the south shore in your constituency has continued to operate during the pandemic with no delays to improve safety. All of this raises the question, what did safety really have to do with the delayed opening of our fishery in the Southern Gulf? In your own stated process, you indicated you would only make changes on LFA by LFA basis and only at the request of harvesters. Then at the 11th hour, you went against your word and delayed the start of this entire Southern Gulf lobster fishery. For whom did you wish to please in making this decision? May I recommend any future decisions of your government be made with consistency based on the input that fishers have provided you and based on discussions with the local MPs. This will prevent questions like those asked in this letter from being raised, and it will better serve those you have been elected to represent. Sincerely, Alan McMaster, MLA, Inverness. All right, guys, so just thank Mike Kelloway a moment. He's coming on shortly. I want to thank all you viewers for coming on, posting reasonable and relevant comments. Once again, disclosure, Ripple Effects takes no side in anything. We're a platform and we a public forum for transparency. Also, we don't, Mike doesn't address everything on this side, but he does see the comments and he does see the show. So please feel free to put your comments on the side. And I'm looking forward to the consistent Monday night update that Mike has been kind to do with me for the last few weeks. So I'm going to bring on Mike here shortly. Here we go. Check, check, check.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
It's going
Mike,
well.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
There's a little bit.
Maybe like a bit closer like this.
So that's good. There's a little bit of a storm going on here in Ilmadam. So.
Oh, okay. Snow or rain?
A little bit of a delay in our rain. It's really coming down pretty hard. So.
Okay.
So, but I've got all the kids off their devices so that I'm being selfish with the bandwidth. It's my bandwidth now. So thank you again, Mike, for coming on. I just gave you a shout out there just before coming on. You've been consistently coming on Monday nights, even if we don't have lots to say. So I would just want to thank you for setting aside that time for us.
Thank you.
Why don't we start off? There's been so many updates. I don't know which one to start off with first, but why don't you start off, Mike, and give us the latest updates this week that's happened?
Sure. And every day there is an update or two or three, but we talked last week about the importance of investing in healthcare. And very recently, in the past 48 hours, the Prime Minister made a $240 million announcement with respect to mental health care and other medical services to take place online. So that's things around virtual care, virtual healthcare, really providing the tools to healthcare practitioners through the federal government to the provinces to be able to better connect people with the health needs that they desperately need. And I think this has been something that's been needed for some time. And I think COVID just kind of highlighted the fact that in particular in rural Canada where we live, it's important to get healthcare from a variety of means, face-to-face, doctor to patient, nurse practitioner to patient, mental health care professional to patient. And the idea to provide these new platforms for mental health care and primary care, as well as the expansion of existing care supports, is going to be so key. A little bit of data, that I found interesting. It was based on our call last week. We talked about mental health, and the number of cases in terms of people calling requesting mental health supports has doubled in Canada since COVID. So that's a pretty staggering statistic. It kind of rings true to when we talk about CERB, and we say, CERB is there to provide a basic income for people that have lost an income overnight. We're up to 8 million people that have applied for CERB. These numbers are astronomical. So we need those supports in place. So I was really glad to see the Prime Minister make that significant investment. He mentioned, we can use apps to, order dinner or have video chats. But we now need to, and we've been doing it for some time, but we now really need to double down and do a much deeper dive in terms of investing in these services. And I think it ties in to another announcement that was made around rural broadband and cell phone coverage. It's something else we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, is that for us to, in rural Canada, to enhance our healthcare and to broaden economic development, and provide, a secure and safe place for Canadians and rural Canadians in particular to live and work, we need quick access to broadband and cell phone coverage. So, I'm really happy to have played a role in that with the Rural Caucus and pushing that to cabinet. So these two things kind of connect in a major way, and it's also investments that are going to, I hate putting things in terms of dollar signs, but if you look at the return on investment from a human capital, social capital, or economic capital, investing in healthcare, investing in mental health care, primary health care, broadband is just the smart thing to do, the right thing to do, and the thing to do now. Not wait 4 years, not wait 3 years, but get the money into the hands of the practitioners that can do this and do it well. So healthcare has been a primary passion of mine for most of my adult life. I've often mentioned my mom, who has stage 4 cancer, and she's doing well. She's a going concern. She's got more energy than me. But we need to ensure that people like my mom during this time have access to the care they need. And that may be virtual, telephone, and maybe not to replace face-to-face, but just other tools in the toolbox to help rural Canadians. And I think that's essential, and it's so important. And I really want to highlight it last week because I really want to thank you for bringing mental health up. Health is a passion of mine. Mental health, community health is a passion of mine. Health is tied to so many different things, right? We've talked about the need to provide an income for your family. You need to provide an income for your significant others that are in your life. For yourself, it gives you a sense of self-worth, meaning rather, and self-worth. So all of these things factor into investments that touch the daily lives of people. And it's every week we're looking at, and every night, to be honest with you. I have not just meetings, but caucus and the cabinet ministers, but meeting with average people like myself. The Mike Kelloways of the world, where I pick up the phone and talk to someone. Tell me what you're hearing. What's going on? And we do that in small groups, large groups, individual, conversations, and it has been so informative. It's been so informative, and we've talked about the past couple of weeks. I think I might have caught the tail end of some of the comments on the fishery side of things. It's been the fishers, the spouses of fishers, the families of fishers, who've helped inform my approach and my recommendations to Christia Freeland and Bernadette Jordan and so forth and so on. That's only good for democracy. That's only good for that kind of bottom-up approach that I got into politics for. So I want to thank the public for that.
Very much so. And Mike, now I haven't kept up myself on all different, I know I said tonight in the agenda, I'd like to speak about gun banning.
Sure.
I see a plethora of comments out there, back and forth, but can you give us a rundown of the announcement with the gun ban that Justin Trudeau brought out on Friday?
Yes, for sure. And to be honest with you, we've received a fair amount of calls as well, both pro and con there's about 1,500 military style weapons that will be prohibited from buying over the next the next 2 years. And the thought process here is that number one, I want to highlight the fact that in our riding there are so many folks that hunt moose, deer, whatever the case may be. That's this particular ban is not to focus on those individuals at all. It's to focus on, number one, outlawing military style weapons, and then later to come, and this is where I want to really focus, is the importance of illegal sales of guns. So we're looking at banning the military style weapons. I think there's 1,500 in total. This was an election promise actually in 2015. It's one that the cabinet decided to move forward on last week. It's gotten, I've gotten pro and con from it. I've gotten a lot of comments from law enforcement on the importance of it, and I've also got people worried that it's a slippery slope. If you start here, will it be rifles used for hunting? And I understand that sentiment. I can understand the importance of recreational style weapons for hunting and that kind of thing. That's not what this is designed to do. This is designed to get to make Canada a safer place. Now, it's the first measure to do that. And the second measure will have to be one that requires a deeper dive and action on the across the border weapons that are coming in that are illegal, that play such a detriment to the lives of so many Canadians. So, and I want to say this: when people call me or text me, I enjoy it. I love to know what's going on, and I want to thank all of those on both sides of the equation that have sent a note to me. Some of them have been a little bit over the top in terms of some of personal things, but I'm a pretty tough guy. I'm okay with that. I understand that there's a fear there. There's a fear that government is going to come in and take not just your weapons but other things, and I can tell you wholeheartedly. I mean, I'm not into politics to do that. I'm into politics to make things safer, to create a better environment, to respect the gun owners that have taken the time to take their firearms courses, that have passed down their guns from generation to generation. But it's one of those things that society is changing, and the focus on the military style weapons in particular is the focus here. So keep sending me your comments, those that are pro and con. As you know, Rebecca, I read everything, and I do.
Yes,
To the point where I may need to get a social life. I don't know, but it's one of those decisions that the government has made, and to focus on those 1,500 military style weapons. I'm not going to get into the vitriol on both sides, because I think when you start politicizing something like this on both sides, it does what it does to a lot of topics. It doesn't give it the attention it deserves. So what I'll say is that when it comes to the purchasing of hunting, hunting rifles and the like. I mean, that continues. It's so important. I mean, we live in a rural riding. My father
Yeah.
had rifles. My father passed away 8 years ago, and the rifles that he had for hunting are still there. They're decommissioned, but they're still there. It's an important
Right.
part of. It was an important part of our life. And Dad did the hunting, I did the
Yeah.
eating. But
Yeah.
it's an important part of people's lives, and we want to make sure that that's kept intact while looking at the changing, ever-changing landscape of military-style weapons. And my understanding is that the process by which there'll be a buyback program, there may be, I think, I've read in some publications and some correspondence, some type of grandfather clause with respect to the weapons, but I'm not exactly sure. I think we need to unpack what that means. But I deeply respect gun owners, and I deeply respect those on the law enforcement side that are looking at ways to make people safer. And I think as Canadians, what sets us apart from other countries is that we're a country that's built on compromise. We're a country that's built on the best of us. We can agree, and we can agree to disagree. But when it comes to putting forward, I think, innovative policies that will evolve and will change, that I think Canadians excel in that. But I look forward to hearing what people think. And again, it's been strong on both sides, very much.
Yes.
So it's one of those issues that you feel passionate about one way or the other.
You do, and media sometimes, I mean, things tend to get convoluted by the end of a discussion because so many other aspects come into it and opinions. But I mean, you're right. There's both sides, and that's the beauty of living in Canada is we have that opportunity to express how we feel, and that's exactly what this is about this evening as well. So the other topic, I was just looking at my email from Natasha, and I wanted to make sure I was going on the topics we said. The wage subsidy, the new wage subsidy. Can you touch base on that? The 75%, I believe it was. And my connection as well is the fishermen might be able to somehow connect with that. I don't know the details, but do you know the one that I'm talking about?
Yeah. So the government has a measure that focuses on a 75% wage subsidy. And initially it was 10%. And then a few of us MPs got together and had a good conversation with cabinet on the importance to raise that, and they did to 75%. So in this case, if you have a business and you have a payroll of 20,000 up to 1.5 million, and you're a registered business, you can apply for the wage subsidy up to 75%. So like a lot of our measures that we've had to put in play right away, because COVID came pretty quickly, we had to respond pretty quickly. That addresses a lot of challenges for people that are working and people that own a business. But it doesn't address everybody that owns a business, and it doesn't address everyone that has a job. Because if you're not a registered business, or if you have a payroll of 18,000, which many do, if you're seasonal or whatnot, then you don't fall in line with those measures. So what we've said, my office to cabinet, and what we've said to Melanie Joly, who's she's the minister of ACOA, is that there was $625 million announced 2 Fridays ago for ACOA and 4 other groups like ACOA across the country to help small businesses and medium-sized businesses that don't align to these existing measures that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And we're hearing and we're pushing, my office, that those people that do not fall within that, within that framework for the 40 grand, the initial measure we released, would fall here. So that could be fishers that don't fit the bill there. That's what we're pushing. It could be First Nations communities that have a business but are not necessarily a business because they're a governmental entity. It could be people in the gig economy. I had a great conversation probably with 15 people in the creative economy last week, and we talked ad nauseum about how CERB is helping many in the creative economy. But if you own a business in the creative economy, you may not necessarily fit this current measure. So we've been pushing pretty hard, Cape Breton Cancer office on that.
Okay. So, and that's probably going to be a question Donelda McCaskill might follow up with Mike after. Donelda, how does it work where fishers are just starting their business up again for the season? So if you don't have the answer now, Mike, it's a connection for afterwards.
Yeah, is it Donelda?
Donelda, yeah.
Donelda, if you want to reach out, if you could reach out to my office, we'd love to talk to you a little bit about your situation on in terms of that. There's Donelda. Hi. Oh, there you go.
There's
okay.
Donelda there.
How does it work when fishers are starting their business? Yeah. That's a good one. Now, I wonder, are you talking, Donelda, I'm not sure if you're talking the wage subsidy or the loan.
Right.
The 40,000. Is it the loan? Probably. It's probably the loan.
I think it's probably the loan she's referring to.
Yeah, that's one we would want to sit down with you where if you haven't started yet, but there's some other variables we can look at, and we can meet with her one-on-one on that.
Okay, so I wrote your name. Yep. We're not getting a lot of questions, viewers, tonight, and that's okay too. But if you want to ask me something, text 902-305-7833. Just looking to see if we have any other. Oh, there's questions can be. There we go. Thank you. And that must be your fantastic admin staff there. They just put it up. Questions can be emailed to Mike Kelloway. Perfect. Oh, wage. She was referring to the wage. So.
Okay.
The other question. Yeah, we want to talk about. We talked about the mental health. Now that's really. I wanted to go back to that, Mike, because I find that really interesting, and it's almost like, COVID was the catalyst to opening up this, in the UK, they have this available, they do this. Yeah. And I can't even imagine it yet, but the ability to be able to speak with your doctor and not leave your house would cut down so much pressure on hospitals and the timing of everything. And I see some really positive things from that.
I do too. I mean, we can all agree we wish COVID never happened a million times over, but it has, and there's been a lot of sorrow and a lot of anxiety, but also coming from that comes a fair amount of innovation, I believe. And some of these things are not new. Like if we look at virtual discussions like this, or virtual working, or integrated learning, or whatever the case may be, they're not new. But I think what COVID has done has shown us that the future is now, and the future is the ability to connect people as much as we can using this medium, whether it is mental health, doctors, nurse practitioners, health specialists, things of this nature. And it's the evolution, really, of rural Canada, to be frank. I mean, I think that you can have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You can have the doctor who you can go see in Arichat, but you can also have the ability to reach a specialist via this means, if, again, your internet and your broadband will allow. That's why everything is so connected here. Like economic development is connected to this, what we're doing now. Healthcare is connected to this. Everything is connected to the information highway. It has been for the past 25 years, but now we're seeing how it can be done. I mean, my goodness, last Tuesday. Now I've been in Parliament now for 4 or 5 months, and I've been in the House where debates happen, question period. I've seen a lot of interesting shenanigans in the House, right? Great questions, good debate, but a lot of like WWE bad dinner theater type of just characters. Good people, but in some cases bad actors.
Yeah.
When we went online this past Tuesday, there were 299 MPs. I found that process amazing. Questions were asked, good questions were answered, answered well, follow-ups were done. There was the occasional eye rolling, but that was about it. And I just found it, I thought, you know what? I mean, I know it's the first time we did it. We made history with it. But this shows a couple of things. It shows that we can have committee work. Committee work. You have so many committees: health, justice, First Nations, rural. They all do not have to happen in Ottawa. And I would argue they can happen anywhere. I would argue that, as a chairperson for a particular caucus, let's say if I was the chairperson for a rural caucus and I have 20 people in the caucus that are part of it across the country, we don't have to wait to go to Ottawa to do it. Let's do it here. Let's make it happen here.
Right.
Let's look at all the jobs that are in Ottawa or Halifax. And I love Halifax. No Halifax bashing here whatsoever. But if you look at the jobs that can be done in Isle Madame, Arishat, Glace Bay, Canso, you name it. Like we've illustrated, we've just hired thousands of people to administer CERB. And we're going to need to hire more because after the initial flood of CERB folks, there's going to be EI and so forth and so on. You could argue that if we're going to hire clusters of people, why not hire them in rural Canada? We can do it. Yeah, we're showing we can do it.
It's the perfect. It's fertile too, Mike. And I told you this before on a personal level. It's fertile grounds here for entrepreneurs.
Oh,
I mean, it's been a blessing to live here. I moved back from Alberta after 26 years of single mom, 4 kids, because of what I wanted, the quality of life back home, and I'm an entrepreneur. So it is fertile for that.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
it's just a great place.
I mean, this is like, to me, Cape Breton, northeastern Nova Scotia is the best place, in the world. I know I'm a homer, but it is. And I've been here my entire life with the exception of, going to university in Calgary and things of that nature. But this is a great place to work. And I really believe in the next couple of years, we're in a point where I think we can collectively, and this is the other thing, it's not going to be one person that makes this happen. It's not going to be Mike Kelloway pretending he's he's Obama or JFK or having that cult of personality. It's going to require me and you, Rebecca, and people in Guysborough County and Antigonish County to look at what are the assets we have and how can we grow them. And it's not hokum to say the greatest asset I think we have is our people, whether it's in the creative arts, whether it is people that work in IT. I mean, not too many people know this, but one of the fastest growing small centers in Atlantic Canada for IT startups is in Sydney. It's in Sydney. So we can grow that. We have a huge resource in the fishery. How do we expand that? We're just, cutting our teeth in terms of creative arts as far as I can see. We've got, that exploding in a variety of different ways. How do we keep people here? How do we monetize it more for the practitioner? These are things that we're working on as an office, but we don't pretend to be the be all and end all. The way we get out of our situation from an economic perspective, from a social perspective, is all of these diverse opinions that we have on our island is channeling 1 to 2 to 3 of them together. Just 3.
Collaborative. Collaborative effort. And I can't agree with you more. It's definitely taking everyone to pull together for sure.
And by the way,
I want to acknowledge comment.
I was going to say, we're dressed alike now. Is this like, look at this? See?
I can't help it. And you know what's funny? I'm finally going to admit, on Sundays I do a pet show, and I haven't gone into town for new clothes lately. So on Sunday, this is the dog sweater.
That's awesome.
And then on Monday, so entrepreneurs out there, never limit yourself. When you think you need a wardrobe, just improvise. And this is my Monday.
Good for you. Good for you.
So, okay, new lift on restrictions. That I gotta admit, I was in happy tears the day that the Premier announced that there was some lift on restrictions. The beaches aren't open and so forth. Can you just highlight what is now open to do?
Yeah, no, I'll admit to it. I'm not completely up to speed on the things that are open, but I do believe that there are some walking parks or many walking parks that are open. I think the ability to park your car at the beach, I think, is an option now. We may want to double check that. Your viewers will
Yeah.
call me on that right away. Hopefully, they will.
I'll
And
post the link.
yeah, that'd be great. But I think I think that was good on the Premier and Dr. Strang to let science dictate it, and they did, to say, okay, like,
Yep.
it's important for people to get them moving a little bit. I think this is what you're going to see, is that you're going to see, certainly the Premier and the Prime Minister, well, not going to see, this has been in the works and it's happening. The Premier and the Prime Minister are working together in terms of charting out how best to open the economy from a nation perspective. That's going to be done strategically, and it's going to be done with a scalpel, as opposed with a hammer. And I think that's going to be, incredibly important, because we want to make sure that everything is backed by science, and everything needs to be backed by science, because we know that many healthcare officials have said that there could be a second wave and a third wave, and what we do here now will determine how prepared we are for the second and third that comes. Yes, there's many vaccines in the mix. I've asked that question in health committee many times. It's anywhere from 12 to 18 months, but that the estimate. But in the meantime, all of these practices that we've been doing, and Dr. Tam said it yesterday, is having an impact on the curve. So there will be systematic opening of the economy, as dictated by science, not politicians, but by science.
Yeah.
Science needs to dictate that, along with talking to the business sector as well. I mean, that's one of the great things you see about our country. Our business sector, very much has it in its mind the protection of its people. They're not saying we open up at any cost. I've never heard of one business in Canada say that. But you may hear it a little bit if you turn on CNN or Fox or MSNBC. So we just live in an incredibly blessed country, an incredibly blessed part of the world. There's no place I'd rather live. I'm very proud of everybody's efforts. And to your point, it's good to get out. It's good to walk around the track. It's good to take the kids, and you see what they're doing in New Brunswick and Newfoundland with the family bubble. That's great too. That's backed up by science. So we need to be not backed up by conspiracy theories and toss them in the garbage, and go with people who know what they're talking about in terms of the science and the like.
Now, just in closing, Mike, I wanted to talk, and we're not in a rush. I mean, Ripple Effects is not about jamming everything into, so we're not here. I just want to acknowledge our viewers.
Sure.
Danelle Pascal, Sheila Briand. A lot of the employers that are fishers have a relative working with them, and as far as I know, not allowed with the wage subsidy. Is that right? So again, viewers, you can email Mike these questions. I just want to acknowledge them. Robert Morrison, is there anything in place for fishers that are not incorporated and have helpers payroll through the lobster buyers? Derek McLeod, how does the wages 75% work when you have a small business that hasn't started yet, like the lobster season? And Derek, Mike just covered that, but feel free to rewind it after we're done here. Patricia Walker, did you receive my question? Patricia, I don't see your question in the comments. I'm not sure if you're referring to emailing Mike. And then the last one here, Danelda McCaskill says, when the 16 weeks of CERB are up, are they automatically transferred over to EI? Is that 55% of CERB?
Okay, so I'll go back in time. If you were on EI, let me put it this way. If you're on EI now, if you're on CERB, if you were on EI and you were transferred into CERB, then you're going to get, when the CERB is done, you're going to go back to your EI.
Yep.
If that makes any sense. To know if that makes any sense. So if you're on, like, for example, on March 16th, you applied for EI, because March 15th is kind of like the COVID line in the sand, right, in terms of a timeline. So March 16th, you applied for EI. They would have immediately put you in to CERB. But what that means is that when CERB is over, your EI kicks in. if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Yep,
help you?
no, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
the key thing here is, what's the evolution of CERB after the end of the 16 weeks? So that's kind of where
Mm-hmm.
we're going next is, okay, where are we as an economy? Where are we on the health spectrum? And where are
Yeah.
workers in both of those first two pillars?
Right. And you're right, Mike. Things have changed daily. So there's no, the frustration and anxiety. I mean, I've been part of that, experiencing some myself, but to see the updates daily and to have that connection is giving some glimmer of hope. So Patricia Ann Walker, my question is there funding for seniors?
Yes, so there are, but I think what Patricia's probably, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Patricia, so if I do, find me and tell me. But I would say that you're probably looking at, are there measures like an increase in OAS coming? And I can tell you again what we've done. We've one of our recommendations as part of our package to cabinet is that we should increase the OAS for our seniors who've given us so much. Now, there's an argument out there, not on the government side, but just in society, that I hear. Well, the seniors, they have an income. They didn't lose an income. They got an income coming in. That's true. But we know my mom's a senior. My mom's 79. So my mother's pension is minuscule. But the prices of so many other things is going up.
Yep.
Right? It just is. So, to answer your question, Patricia, the Prime Minister said last Thursday that help is on the way for seniors. Now, I don't know what those measures are because it's cabinet confidentiality, but I can tell you that Cape Breton Canso has put forward a recommendation to increase OIS. I can tell you that much.
And that's all the questions that I was prepared with for tonight, Mike. I really appreciate it. I'm looking on the viewers if there's anything else here. Oh, I did have one. Darlene Beaton Watts, in regards to communication with Minister Bernadette Jordan, I did make it. I gave the details to that at the beginning of the interview. So if you want to just rewind to that after we're done here, the communication that happened today.
Okay.
And Mike, is there any closing words that you want to conclude with tonight?
Just to thank you for the viewers out there for the questions. Keep your questions coming through to Rebecca, and in terms of reaching out to me, or reach out to me directly. I said from day one that the important thing here was to stay connected, give you the information as I have it, tell you what I'm doing on behalf of you, try to address the best I can the measures put forward by Cabinet, by the Government of Canada. We're doing that. We know there is tremendous more that needs to be done. A lot has been done to date. We know that there are a lot of people out there that need help, and I hear you loud and clear that you need help, that you're worried, that you're concerned. You're concerned for yourself, you're concerned for your family and your community, and I know that. And I'm in the, as I keep saying, I'm in the foxhole with you, and we're going to battle out this together.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Mike Kelloway, local MP with the Canso Cape Breton. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and engaging tonight. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to about the broadcast or how to, use it, utilize it, rewind it. Please let me know. I'd love to help you over the phone. And thank you for coming on tonight. Stay tuned. Up next, 9 o'clock, is Sean O'Connell with his Monday Night Jams, live musicians from all around the world, but mainly Atlantic Canada. So stay tuned, 9 o'clock. Thanks, Mike, for coming on. Thank you to your staff as well.
Thank you, Rebecca, and see you next week.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.